90% of the population lives inside of their comfort zone.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Which to me is astounding. I'm like, 90%? That sounds like a lot.
Inspiring you to reach your goals and live your dream. This is the Keaton Nelson Show.
Alrighty, guys. Welcome to the Keaton Nelson Show. Today, I have a very special guest, Brigette Sobus. It's Sobus, or is it?
Yes.
Sobus.
You said it perfectly.
Perfect. And she's a master at NLP, master hypnosis, and like a bunch of other things, but I'm mostly interested in those things. But I'm so excited to have you on the show. I have a million questions, and I think that our listeners are going to love this episode. So thank you so much for being on here today.
Oh, I'm happy to be here.
Woo. Yeah. So for our listeners who don't know, and I really probably couldn't explain it myself, could you say what is NLP? If you had to just maybe explain to a fifth grader, what would you say?
Yeah. So I mean, the long name is neuro-linguistic programming.
Mm-hmm.
However, what it does is it supports reprogramming the mind at a conscious and unconscious level.
Through words, right? Or am I just wrong?
Wait, say that again?
It's just through words, right?
Yes, it's through words, through communication, language. There's two types of things. So I'm an NLP practitioner and I'm an NLP coach as well. And there's also different techniques that can support people on changing their habits, the behaviors, the way they think, letting go of negative thoughts and emotions at an instant, especially in the unconscious mind. It's really cool.
Yeah. I remember, I think it was Tony Robbins. I listened to one of his things, and he tells a story about he went for NLP training, and then he learned so much in I think it was the first 2 lessons or something like that, and he's like, I have to go out and teach people this, or go help, not even teach. I have to go out and help people with this knowledge that I now have. And they're like, no, you can't do that until you're licensed or whatever. And he's like, screw that. And they kicked him out or something like that.
I just read that story.
It's so interesting. And then he met someone at a hotel room for him to help the guy quit smoking.
Mm-hmm.
So this story's crazy. I won't go into the whole thing for Tony Robbins, but it's he went and bought cartons of cigarettes and made him chain smoke it, and had to do something he would yell at him while he was smoking, and then got really, really nice when he made the decision. Look, my cat's over here. Look at him.
What's your cat's name?
Blue.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, but then he was really nice to him when he made the decision to stop, that he didn't want to smoke anymore, when he verbally said it. And he never smoked again or something. But very, very interesting stuff. So other than helping someone quit smoking, what's some other really cool things that NLP can do? Wait, don't eat that though.
Definitely change unwanted behaviors. It supports with building rapport, helping with negotiation skills. Another thing that I love and I teach as well is called timeline therapy. And it works brilliantly with NLP work. But timeline therapy, it really helps somebody let go of limiting beliefs, such as mainstream ones can have a tendency to be I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, they're not going to like me.
Yeah.
It helps let go of those limiting beliefs and thoughts, and helps reframe somebody to have positive thinking and go after what they want. And then also with letting go of negative emotions, especially anger, sadness, fear, hurt, and guilt. Those emotions that on many people have a tendency to build up over time. So if I can give you an example too, years ago, previous to doing this work with my unconscious mind, I would even though I look like I'm a really happy and joyful person, but when I would get angry about something, it would be like the anger would be like stacking on top of each other.
Mm.
And then if I told you a story, I'll just give it like an example. Like I got separated and divorced in 2010, and it was a pretty devastating 2 years. And if I talked to you about it, it would be like I would be reliving all the anger and negative emotions all over again. And it would be carrying around with me like a ball and chain. And now I can just talk about my divorce like it was just a story or something that happened to me. Like I've been able to release those negative emotions. And now when I get angry or sad, it's like for 5 minutes and then I get the lesson and I move on. But I know a lot of times people get very emotional.
Sure.
So emotions have a tendency to be a ball and chain on people. And then their decisions are starting to be driven by their emotions, especially the negative ones like guilt and fear.
That's cool. Well, I mean, it's interesting. It's really, really interesting. And of course, everyone's, we're all human and emotions drive us a lot. I try to like allow my emotions to subside before I make decisions, but sometimes making emotional decisions is like leads to very bad decisions or bad outcomes because of those decisions. I'm interested to see like, let's say, just out of curiosity, if I were to become a client, like what were some things that like we would work on together, or like how would you get to know what you needed to fix within me? Like almost like a therapist, but not a therapist.
Yeah. I would definitely ask a lot of questions.
Sure.
About your personal history. So okay. I do a deep dive. So I'll do a complimentary session with somebody, asking them, okay, so what are your blocks? What are the things that you're working on? What are the biggest frustrations? What's getting in your way of getting what you want?
I don't want to overstep the bounds, but I think it'd be really, really interesting for the listeners. And it's good for me because I want to be more open with people and stuff and vulnerable. If it gets too much, I'll let you know. And then at the same time, if you're like, no, I don't want to do this on camera, or I don't want to do this on podcast, that's totally fine too. But I think it'd be really, really interesting, even if we just got a little taste of it, of like how we would discover it. Is that okay?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, definitely.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
You ask the questions, I'll answer as honestly as I possibly can.
That's awesome. I love it.
Sweet.
Well, just even if you could just share with me, like in your business, what is the main thing that you want me to know? Do you want to focus on business or personal life? Let me ask you that question first.
Let's do business right now. And then, I might have you come back on and we'll do personal life or something. Like this is really cool. I love this. Yeah, let's do business.
All right. So what are some key things that you want me to know about your business?
That as a leader, I want to be a better leader. I don't think I'm a bad leader, but I think there's a lot of room for improvement to be like an amazing leader. And decision making, becoming a better decision maker for my business and my employees. And then I have a goal of reaching $500,000 in revenue this year. And just based off of the last 5 months or so, we're not on track to do that, but we could, right? We're a little bit over. Yeah, so I want to reach that goal. And then I don't know what else to get into, because I'm like, as far as like, should I go into blocks that are happening for me, or should I talk about like just like anything about the business?
Yeah. Okay. So you're looking to be a better leader. You're a better decision maker. Your goal at the end of the year is to get $500K in revenue. You're currently a little bit off track on that, but it's possible.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. So what are some of your biggest frustrations that you're having right now?
I just had the realization that it's kind of like gardening for me, right? Like you plant a carrot seed, and then if you look at it tomorrow and it doesn't grow and you're frustrated, so you dig it up and plant it somewhere else. and it restarts the process over and over and over again. I think I'm impatient quite a bit. Like that's been really frustrating for me, is like I create a new service and I know the service is so good. I've actually tested it with some people. It's gotten amazing results, like better results than any other service we ever offered. And I'm so excited to tell the world about it. And then I tell a few people, and people take time to make decisions to sign up for things like this. And I just want, like, I want $100,000 a month of revenue from this tomorrow. But there's a gestational period that's causing some frustration for me.
Okay, gotcha. What are some other frustrations? Any others?
I think sometimes with my employees that and it's not right for me to expect this of them because it's not their business, but the same enthusiasm and kind of vision. I think I have a good job. I do a good job of selling the vision to them, but sometimes what they think is possible and what I think is possible are completely different things. And I might be just delusional, but like I've also done some things that seem delusional to people and made it happen. So, you know what I mean?
Gotcha. So what's something you know your business needs right now?
We're in the process of, with this new service that we just added, we're in the process of trying to create 2 different divisions of the business. But right now, everything's all in one bucket, which is like really kind of difficult. So we need to hire someone else to manage this other side and get anyone who should be on the first service offering on that side and keep it completely separate, just so that it can run better. So that's one thing that really needs to happen with the business.
Okay. And what do you think that you need as a leader?
What do I need as a leader? I think I need a really, really, really good number 2, I think. And
patience. If it was, what about like when you say number 2, you mean like another person?
Yeah. I think, I need like another. So I'm like the visionary. I need someone who can be the implementer type of thing.
So let me just, like, if I can just, what do you believe let's say like it's just you, right?
It's just me. Okay.
So what do you believe you need as a leader?
Patience.
Without hiring that other 2 or anything, what would be next in your development for your decision making, for you to be a better leader? What is something that you know you need?
Yeah, I think it's patience, perspective. Yeah, those are the 2 words that come to me. Perspective is a big one.
Okay, can you give me some more insight on what you mean by perspective?
I think there's a story that one of my mentors talks about. It's called the story of the fly. It's really simple, right? So imagine you have a window that's cracked open and a fly comes in, and then they are on the glass and they keep pounding their face into the glass to try and get back outside. But if they just changed their perspective and backed up a little bit, they would see the opening that's cracked at the bottom, and they can just fly right out of it. Like, I need perspective instead of just slamming my face into the glass over and over again. Because I'm hanging out with people that, they would go out of business if they were only doing $100,000 a month, and the way they think about things. And there's not really much different between us. Is like, we're both human. They're not any smarter than I am or anyone else I know. It's just how they think about things, and their perspective on things is way different.
Gotcha. Because I love the quote by Wayne Dyer. If you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you get impatient with things. You feel like when you plant your seeds in your garden, it's like you think that it should grow like the next day.
Yeah.
So you're feeling impatient.
Yes.
You tell a few people about it. You feel like you keep ripping your garden out because because your impatience takes over, and
Mhm.
you're looking, you ultimately, you believe to change perspective on things is going to support you as a leader so that you can move to the next level and basically get out of the window onto the other side.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. All right. So what would be possible for you if all that happened?
Oh man. Well, I mean, things financially, right? Financially, I mean, like freedom wise, right? I wouldn't have to make decisions based off of finances. It's definitely a lot better than it has been in my past, but like as of right now. But in the future, if all those things worked out and I was, crushing it, and I could go fly to California with my daughter to go visit her uncle, my brother, this weekend because I felt like it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And on a private jet because it's easy and comfortable. I could help people in ways that I think when people say like money doesn't buy happiness or whatever, but it does buy like comfort, not security. It provides security, right? Like, so if I had an extra 10 grand to go give to my mother or my sister or whoever, it would make an impact on their lives. Sure, it's like giving a man a fish and rather than teaching them to fish, sure,
Yeah.
but it's still impactful, right? So things like that would be possible. Donating to charities would be possible. And I know I'm on podcasts, I sound like I'm like this big woohoo, but I'd probably go buy a nice car too for myself.
Mhm.
I would make sure, I would definitely allow my fiance to work when she wanted to work and just let her know that it's, you're doing this because you want to do it, not because you have to, or in any way, shape, or form. She's a nurse, so I think she would like to keep working because she likes helping people, but she does get frustrated from time to time. And it'd be nice for her to know that she could just take a month off and nothing would go wrong financially. And then I think I would be more confident too. I think confidence comes with experience sometimes, and having that experience and perspective, I would hold myself, I'd probably walk taller. I would think about my time differently and value it differently. Yeah, these are the things that come to mind. I would be able to pay my employees what they're really worth in my eyes. That's really important to me. There's a story about a guy who paid all his employees like 70 grand or more just because it would give them a standard of living. And I really, really want to make that my base salary for any of my employees, every one of them. So yeah, that's important to me.
That's awesome. So ultimately what I'm hearing is financial freedom.
Yeah, big time.
Jet plane with your daughter and to donate to causes, give your employees the salaries of, I'm hearing a minimum of 70K a year.
Mm-hmm.
So they can live good lives, and you would buy nice things for yourself.
I would.
What kind of car?
I definitely would get a Tesla. It's not the Model 3. The Model 3 is a cheap one. It's the other one. I want the fancy one. I had it printed out on my vision board, but my son drew all over it. But it's it's the black one, white interior with the little sunroof, self-driving. I really want it for self-driving. I think that's just so cool. And then I want a Maserati too. Yep.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So cool. Those are some pretty awesome visions. So my ultimate question is, are you willing to do the work to get what you want?
Yes. Yes, I am.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, so with that being said, for you to get all that financial freedom and let go of, your frustrations and go from impatient to patience and allowing yourself to have new perspectives. I mean, I would definitely do an 8-hour breakthrough session.
Wow.
With you.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I like,
Interesting.
well, this is the thing about my
No,
work.
I love it. This is great. Keep going.
Yeah, so I've been a coach for over a decade, and I started my coaching practice. I was a backstory. I'm a hairdresser, stylist by trade, master certified colorist, retired. And I used to own a hair salon. So I've been an entrepreneur for over 17 years. And because I hired a coach and consultant 17 years ago, and that's what led me to be a coach and consultant, because it completely changed my life. So throughout, I became a coach with the International Coaching Federation, and I still love that work. And I used to have the coaching packages of where I would work with somebody, and I still do. I would work with somebody for like 6 months to a year, coaching them once a week, once a week for an hour.
Yeah.
Now, because of the NLP work, timeline therapy, and hypnosis, I work with people in a really short amount of time, which is about, I do about 8 hours of work within 1 week. So we'll do chunks of time. We'll do like 2 or 3 hours, 3 to 4 days in a very short amount of time. So I can support people on having unconscious breakthroughs faster, quicker,
That's
versus
so cool.
like 6 months to a year working with someone. Working with the unconscious. So like at a conscious level, it takes at least 21 days for you to create a new behavior or a thought pattern or things like that.
Yeah.
When I'm working with the unconscious mind, it happens like in an instant.
Yeah. It's so cool. I'm going through this program. You might be aware of it. Thinking into Results with it's Bob Proctor's program.
Okay, I know Bob Proctor. Yeah.
Yeah, and they have you like slowly do it through small bites and repetition. Because the way that they explain it, which is it's basically what you're talking about, is like your subconscious mind is what controls your body or controls your behavior, decisions, everything that you do, right? And if you're consciously saying that you want to go do something, or that you should eat healthy, work out, and do all these things, but your subconscious mind is controlling everything that you're doing, it doesn't matter how conscious or how much you really want it consciously, but you need to slowly program your subconscious mind, is the way they say slow. Like what you're saying, you can do it instantly, which I think is so cool. Slowly basically brainwash yourself to have new they call it paradigms in your subconscious.
Yeah. Well, it increases choices too, and our brains too have a way of thinking about negatives for some reason, like especially like the unconscious mind has a hard time even processing a do not. So because the do nots, like I do not want this, consciously turns into, oh wait, that's what she wants. Because
that's so interesting.
The unconscious mind acts like a 6 or 7 year old little brother or sister that wants to serve you. That's what it does. So like, even if, like, I like to give the example too, like it has a hard time processing a do not. Like, so if I say to you, do not think about a blue tree, do not think about a purple pig. What'd you think about?
Of course, yeah. Immediately pictured a blue tree and a purple pig.
Yeah. So another example I like to get. So have you ever worn like a white shirt or white pants and you're doing everything in your power to avoid spilling something on it, and it happens pretty quickly?
Yep.
Yeah. It's like your brain thinks you want to spill something on it. It's like
do not.
And it's like it goes with relationships, or even goes with money. So a lot of people have, their thought pattern is, when it comes to money, this is something I've run into, like, I want to get out of debt. And then money comes into their lives, and then your unconscious mind puts you right back into debt, because you're focusing on like, I do not want. So you have to refocus your mind on like, I want financial abundance. I want to make $1 million, versus the opposite. Because then that's when our brains do start hijacking us. It could even be in personal relationships. Like, I don't want a crappy relationship, or I don't want a crappy boyfriend or girlfriend. And then what are we doing? we keep attracting crappy relationships and
Mm.
crappy girlfriends or boyfriends. So it's like retraining and reframing your brain. So you're focusing on what you want. And that's a practice all in itself.
Ooh, that's good. Great advice. Great advice. We're gonna clip that, guys. My video team. That's worth clipping. So I have questions about hypnosis. I mean, I could rattle them off. Do you need, this is like a yes or no, just so we can get through it, because I'm dying to know. Does the person need to be like willing?
Yes,
Okay. And then,
absolutely. And the person absolutely has to be willing, and your unconscious mind will only do things that are in your value system.
ooh, okay.
So like if I were to hypnotize you
Mm-hmm.
and say, well, after I go rob a bank right now. You, unless you're a bank robber, let's put it that way. Unless that's your profession is bank robbery. You will not go rob a bank.
Interesting.
So there's all those scary movies out there. People being controlled.
Like mind control and stuff. Yeah, not exactly the same thing. Yeah, I mean, like, that's interesting because this is so weird, bringing back memories. It's like after junior prom, we had like a sleepover at my high school, and they did a hypnotist came late at night. And I remember one of my friends who had some anger issues, and the hypnotist got him to be angry when someone said a certain word.
Oh,
I wonder if
okay.
that's a reason why they did it, because everyone was like telling the hypnotist that this person gets angry when like pretty often. He's just got some anger issues and stuff, so maybe he played into that.
Yeah, that's exactly what that was happening. He already had it in there, and then like he anchored a trigger word.
That's
cool. Basically what that was.
And what type? So I think like Rob Dyrdek got hypnotized for success, and he completely attributes all of his success to being hypnotized. And like it was instant for him too. And it wasn't like for him just to be successful, it was for him to be aware of all the opportunities for success, I think. Like could you dive into that a little bit, because I'm so interested in this. I'm like,
yeah, I mean, you have to be ready, consciously and also at the unconscious level to allow that stuff to even come into your life. I'm actually like listening to the book Think and Grow Rich.
Oh yeah,
Napoleon Hill. And they talk about this. It's like that. What was that book written in like the 1930s?
Early 1900s.
Yeah, like early 1930s. And they were talking about the unconscious and subconscious mind, like way back then.
That's what this program I'm going through is based off of. Like a lot of it.
Yeah. So one thing is consciously and unconsciously, you're ready to receive, and you're ready to let go of that stuff. And you're ready to let go of the negative parts about it. And you're ready to take on all the lessons learned, and then change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And then it's really then going in and focusing on that. So when a person is willing and ready to make the changes, then all the hypnosis, the timeline therapy, the NLP work, it's like it amplifies it by tens of thousands, I think.
That's cool. I think that Rob Dyrdek said that he had just like got kicked out of his parents' house. He was like, sick of himself abusing drugs and all whole mess of things that were going wrong in his life, and all that kind of came to like a rock bottom, which I think is like, it's an opportunity to be willing and open for change for a lot of people. So I wonder if that's why it worked so well when he went and did it. Because that's what I also wonder is like, I find like sometimes I get really comfortable with where I'm at, and that motivation, just like that drive when you like need to make the money or you need to do a certain thing. Like, obviously you're more motivated to do it then, but like, how do you keep that drive or like harness that, so that you can do it all the time? Like I have an example I tell to my employees. I was like, listen guys, if we had to make $100,000 before this weekend, or we all went to jail for 20 years, you think we'd figure out a way to do it? We probably would.
Yeah.
It's like, so what is stopping us right now?
Yeah. Well, here's, one of the things too, if statistically 90% of the population lives inside of their comfort zone.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Which to me is astounding. I'm like, 90%? That sounds like a lot. It is a lot.
Yeah.
But, if you really want to hear some jargony words, like if I was working with you and you wanted to create a new habit where you were having consistency on a daily basis and creating some new habits, I would do something that's called a swish pattern.
Okay. What's that?
A swish pattern. It supports behavioral change.
Okay.
So it would be like, okay, I can give you an example of myself. All right.
Please.
So when someone used to cut me off, like I would get so triggered and all of a sudden I would like shut down. I would like get really like, that was my behavior.
Yeah.
Like my pattern. So I would shut down. I wouldn't talk to them, or either I would cut their head off or I would leave, because my behavior was I would get upset. Well, I wanted to change my behavior to when someone interrupted me, I just went with the flow. I was easygoing about it. I was playful about it. Didn't make it a big deal. And I can tell, like, it's been over a year since I had that on me personally. And to this day, I just let it go. I'm just like, oh, and then normally what's going to happen is the person, we go back to what I was talking about. So I was able to change my pattern or my automatic by that. One of my students that graduated from my coaching academy so I train people. I have a certification program through my Power and Joy Coaching Academy. So one of my students works with somebody that does, this guy does minimum $40,000 a year, a month in sales. Mm-hmm. And her exact words are, the swish pattern is like magic. It's like a magic tool. It's not like we're waving a magic wand. It feels like that. It's a 15-minute process. I'd have to do it, ask you some questions, walk you through it. But it does change behavioral patterns in like 10, 15 minutes with somebody. So if you want to wake up and make your bed every day, something like that. If you find that you're always playing video games, but you should be working on a project, mm-hmm. It would be really good for that. There's some other techniques where if you don't want to ever eat, like I can never drink. I don't even like saying the word Diet Coke ever again. There's other techniques where you could support people on never wanting to eat something ever again if they find themselves eating potato chips way too much. So yeah, there's lots of really cool techniques, tools within all of it. Versus the communication and language patterns. A lot of politicians no NLP work. I have actually shown some video clips to my students after they graduate. They're on graduation day of Tony Robbins being on the Dr. Oz show, mm-hmm. And how he's working with women in the audience. The shows I've watched were women, but anyway.
Yeah.
And after it's all over, I was like, do you guys realize that you have learned everything that he just did on stage?
So cool.
So it's pretty cool.
You teach NLP?
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
certify people in 4 different modalities: NLP practitioner, NLP coach, timeline therapy, and then hypnosis.
So not only are you a master of all this stuff, you teach people how to
Yep,
do it.
I'm a trainer and I'm a licensed trainer and a teacher.
Wow.
So I have a first level 7-day practitioner course for the 4 levels, and then I have a master's course, that's more of like a 2-week intensive course where people can then get their master certifications. This work, I love this work so much. I'm so passionate about it. I was like, I want to learn to teach this stuff. So I spent months studying and getting my certifications so that I can launch my own coaching academy. Yeah. I believe this work is like game changing.
It is. I don't mean to steer it off subject, but I'm just like, I have so many questions about this stuff. I've been so interested in a long time, and every book I pick up on it isn't good enough, or it isn't like intriguing enough for me to keep reading or listening to. For some reason, it's probably a me thing, not the book, but I'm blaming the book. But having a conversation with you is really cool. NLP, people use this in sales too, no?
Yes.
Can you elaborate on that, or how it could be helpful in sales?
Yeah, I mean, I actually just gave you a taste of it at the beginning of when you asked if I could go through it with you. Yeah, that's kind of some of the taste of it. I mean, a lot of it with the sales, again, it's really first and foremost, I teach people how to build rapport with somebody else. So when you're building rapport, the person's really trusting you, you're in sync with them. One of those things, like teaching people, like learning how to, elicit somebody's strategy on how they buy things.
Okay, cool.
But it's all coming from, for me, it's all coming from service. It's all coming from service.
Right. You want to help them.
Yeah. I want to help them and I want to support them.
Right.
I mean, there has, unfortunately, there's been some bad raps out there where some people are like, oh, NLP, it's a manipulation tool.
You're trying to trick them into buying. Right.
Okay. Yeah. Well, no, they're actually my practice and the people that I surround myself with, we're using the techniques to support others on leading their best life ever. So when you're doing it in sales, it really is just about, when you're asking like open-ended questions, like, hey, where are you at? What's your biggest frustration? What do you want your life to look like? So it's like, you're opening it up. You're starting to get a feel for what the person's challenges are ultimately. So you can solve all their problems.
Yeah, I just recorded a TikTok on this. Is like, I used to suck at selling because I would just be like, they'd hop on a phone call with me, and I'd be like, all right, well, you get this, this, and this, and this, and this, and this is how much it costs. You want to sign up? And they'd be like, no. Like every time, like, I'm not gonna do that. Or like, I would just present what I had to offer. And now what I do is I just ask questions to see if I can solve their problem, or if they have a problem in the first place that I can solve. And a lot of times I find that like people will get referred to me and I'm not the best solution to solve their problem. And I can refer them to someone else who is the best solution. And I'd much rather to do that than try to trick someone into giving me money and giving them a service they don't need. Because they're just going to be unhappy and tell people how much I suck, Yep. But like, I think someone gave an example of like, if you were selling a chair, how would you do it? And it's like this is like a sales training, and salespeople would go up. Oh, it's like, oh, this is a beautiful chair that's really comfortable and has all these features and stuff like that. And he's like, no, I don't want to buy it. And another person would come up and try. And he didn't realize that if you just ask, hey, why do you need a chair in the first place? They're like, oh, my ex-wife is taking half of everything I have. And I need 2 chairs to give her half of it. And I need the most uncomfortable chair that you can give me so that I can go and give it to my wife. But they're trying to sell how amazing this chair is. When, but not, I don't know how good of an example that is, but it's sexy.
No, it is. No, it's a great example because it's just, again, I heard you say like you're going back to what's their problem, what are they actually looking for, and then how are you going to help them solve that problem? That's what a lot of it is about in sales. And then I like what you said. If you don't see that you're a right fit for somebody, you have a referral source. I will tell someone if I don't think they're a right fit for me. Like if somebody's coming to me and they're like, and I'm having the biggest challenge with marketing and social media, I will be like, I have a referral I can give you because that's not my wheelhouse.
Right. Exactly. Awesome. So where can people go follow you? Because I think that I want to go follow you. I don't know why. I'll follow you right now because this is so cool.
So I'm on my professional Instagram and Facebook pages are Coach Brigette Sobus. So BRIGETTE SOB as in boy US. And LinkedIn, I'm Brigette Sobus. BRIGETTE SOBUS. My website's BrigitteSobus.com, and I'm so excited because my brand new website is being launched hopefully in the next couple of weeks. I've been working on this. I've been working on a whole new branding for my company. It's getting so close.
That's awesome.
To being complete.
Very cool.
Yeah.
You have got to put up like these 1-minute tips and tricks and stuff. I'm telling you, do some reels. I will be dying to see.
I'm working on that.
Yeah, I know it takes a lot of time and effort.
And all the things. But I also, I have I sent you a link to one of my free gifts.
Oh, cool.
Well,
yeah, let's link that up.
Yeah, so my free gift is it's in the email that I gave your assistant. It's my ebook called 10 Ways to Live Your Highest and Best Self.
Awesome. We are going to link that up in the show notes.
And then when you download my free ebook, then I also, I have emailing, give me in my database, and then I send my database and nurture them with tips and other emails and all the things.
Cool. What if someone's listening to this and they want to work with you? They're like, I just love everything you have to say. I need this help. I want to get an instant fix right now. How do they what's the best way to get in touch with you?
You can email me at BrigitteSobus.com, BRIGETTE at BRIGETTESOBUS.com. Email me and I will get right back to you as soon as possible. I do complimentary 1-hour power and joy breakthrough strategy sessions. So where I'm really discovering what you want to get out of the session, what's been getting in your way, and what you can start doing about it.
Awesome. Really cool.
Yeah.
Well, I hope that everyone listening, I think stuff's really, really cool. I'm probably going to reach out to you too after this because this is
awesome. So please do. I look forward to it.
Yeah. And I mean, normally I get into your story and all this stuff, but I had so many questions about what you do that I just skipped over all that type of stuff. But there's a few questions that I do ask every guest, and it may not tie into the rest of our conversation today. Yeah. But I do want to ask them just to honor my format of my show. So one of them is if you had to tell someone or tell everyone that or what's one book you think everyone should read? Just everyone needs to read.
One book?
Just one. What's the one book?
Oh geez, one book. Okay, this is a book that I recommend to most of my clients. Actually, I recommend it to all my clients. The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks.
Where's my pen? I gotta write this down.
The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. It really talks a lot about how our unconscious mind works and how we self-sabotage.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that
it
is
is
gonna be very
an
good.
amazing book. I have every single one of my clients. I have tell my students to read it. It's a phenomenal book. That was the one I had to pick.
That's awesome. Where's my pen? I want to write it down. I'm gonna put it in my phone just so I don't forget about it.
Okay.
See that? Do they have an audiobook of it, you think?
I think, yeah, they do have an audiobook because one of my clients listen to it on audio.
That's how I am.
I usually read. Think and Grow Rich is one of the first audiobooks I'm listening to.
Oh, really? That's one of the ones you should read. Actually, that's like
I might do it opposite, but you know what's so
Yeah.
funny? That book has been on my list of books to read.
so good.
And I just finished reading another book that I tore through
Mhm.
called Expert Secrets.
Oh, by Russell Brunson.
I just tore
That's
through
good.
that book in like 2 weeks.
It's
And like in that book, this guy, I don't know if it was Russell or it was another one of his co-authors, was telling a story about how like he was always recommended to read that book. And like it kept sitting on his shelf. And then a year later, he'd go to another seminar and someone would say it. And then he was like, and then I finally got the audio. And I was like, I'm just going to get the audio. And I started listening to it over the weekend.
This is
And
cool.
I'm on
You're a
chapter
little fish.
4. Yes, that's the book.
I got it.
Highly recommend it.
Dude, yeah, I'm so happy. How far are you into Think and Grow Rich?
I'm on chapter 4.
Auto suggestion,
Yeah.
right? Is that it? Yeah, it ties right into your work too. Big time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I love this stuff.
Yeah, it's perfect.
So
It gets crazier. Like towards the end of the book, it's really, really interesting. I think one of the chapters talks about the transmutation of sexual energy, which is really, really interesting.
Okay.
And how that's like our number one desire in the world as humans. So if we can take that desire and transfer it to something else, it's more useful. It really talks about like men and stuff a lot, and how they have to how they chase women and things like this. But really, really just I read it when I was 21 years old. It was really eye-opening. I was like, wow, this is pretty wild. And it talks about why a lot of men aren't successful until their late 40s when their sexual drive has decreased. Things like that. It's really, really interesting. But mastermind groups, a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah, I really like that book. I try to read it once a year if I can.
Oh, nice.
It's one of those books, right? Then two more questions I have.
Okay.
One is, do you have a regret? I think that people learn in two different ways. You can learn, learning all the right things to do, and then learning all the things that you shouldn't do, or all the things that not only you shouldn't do, you should just go and do the opposite. So I like to bring up regrets in this, and it allows people to get a little bit vulnerable and be real with the audience. So if you have your biggest regret that you had in your life, what would it be? And if you don't want to share it too, that's completely fine.
No,
but yeah,
I'm writing books on this stuff.
Cool.
If I really had to, so regret. Okay, I got my lessons learned. Let's even put it this way. If someone were to ask me for my advice, what would I tell them to do? So I had shared with you, in 2010, I went through a very devastating divorce. It was nasty. And, I owned a very successful salon during that time. It was award-winning. I was a Salon Today Top 200 winner for 13 years in a row in Chicago. And after my divorce was over, I found myself in $1.3 million of debt, personal debt.
Whoa.
Because of things I had no idea what was happening behind my back. I was running, bless my ex-husband's soul. He's passed on now.
Okay.
But I made a lot of peace with him. I forgave him, but I was running the salon and he was running the properties that we owned. And I didn't know that bills weren't getting paid. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
So anyway, long story short, after I found out, after I just took on all the debt to get out of the divorce. So I was like, I will take it on. Like, I just need to be legally away.
Yeah.
So I was in $1.3 million of debt, and I was so afraid. And I kept getting all this advice to go into bankruptcy. They're like, you need to file bankruptcy. You need to file bankruptcy. And I was like, if I file bankruptcy, I'm going to be at risk of losing my business because they will seize it because it's an asset.
Right.
So after meeting with several attorneys and, my parents and some close mentors, I made the decision to file. And then I made the decision to buy my own business back and negotiate with the trustee for a very hefty amount of money. So the one thing about hair salons is even though they're bringing, my salon was, probably was producing around $1 million a year at that point.
Nice.
And again, award winning, had a track record, financials were good. And I basically had to negotiate, and I had to buy my own business back for like $75,000 within like 1 year.
Wow.
And I decided to do it. So if I had one regret, it would be that I wouldn't have bought my business back. I would have let it go. I would have let it go. There's
the lesson in there?
Two reasons.
Okay. Yeah.
First and foremost, I could just let it go and go. I could have just opened up another one for the same amount of money without all the headache.
Yeah.
It would have been a lot easier transition. Ego completely got in my way back then. I was so ego driven. I'm not losing my hard-earned business to bankruptcy. It was so ego driven.
Yeah.
So I would have let go of my ego. I would have let it go. And truth be told, I think it's very important to listen to the universe. The universe, whatever your universe means, it can mean God or whatever religion is, whatever that is for you. Listen to what the universe is telling you, because I ultimately believe the universe was giving me a big kick in the ass to be like, you know what, you're ready to move on from this salon, to owning a hair salon, and just focus on coaching and consulting work.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah. So within 1 year of my life, I filed bankruptcy, I got breast cancer, and I broke off a 5-year relationship I was dating. I was dating somebody within 1 year.
Oh,
who does that?
That's tough. That's heavy.
So,
I
would probably say that would be my biggest. It was a huge learning lesson. I learned a lot. I've reinvented my life since then. I'm actually on my second round of kicking cancer's ass. I was re-diagnosed with breast cancer in January, and I'm in the middle of chemo, and I still have my hair because I'm cold capping. But I will tell you, out of all that mindset work and all the lessons I've learned, I am navigating through this. I don't even want to say the C word anymore. Yeah. I'm navigating it like I'm just healing my body. And I'm building building my business, and I'm building a life I love, and I'm helping other people do it. So as much as that was a regret, it was still a huge learning lesson.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. Thank you for sharing. This was really, really awesome. And you're just going to go kick its ass again anyway. So
yeah, I'm not. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I'm already relating to my body is healed.
Mm-hmm. That's great. I think I was on a call last night, and my mentor was telling me, if you're in a state of chaos, be thankful, because the next thing that's coming is order. Mm-hmm. Just in a constant state of vibration, up and downs and stuff like that. So if you're in the chaos, the next thing coming is order. And I think whenever something has been really gone wrong in my what I picture is really going wrong in my life is when I'm holding on to something I probably shouldn't. Mm-hmm. For me, it was even turning 18 years old and going to college and not being a little kid who's not responsible for anything anymore, was one thing. and yeah, it just turned out really bad. It started like doing drugs and doing bad things, because of that. And yeah, it's interesting. You got to listen to the universe.
Mm-hmm.
It's giving you nudges, I'm sure.
It really does.
Until you keep telling it no, and then it smacks you in the face, right? That's cool. And then the last question that I have, and then I'll let you get out of here because I want to respect your time and mine as well, is if you could go back in time, it sort of relates to the last question, but it doesn't have to be negative. It doesn't have to be a regret, right?
Okay.
You can go back in time to any age, right? And you get to say 3 sentences, but only three sentences, and not like, oh, I would say this, and this is what it kind of means. No, you only get 3 sentences to say to yourself. What age would you go back to? What would you say? What would the 3 sentences be? And then I always let the guests choose if they want to say why, or if they just want to let those 3 sentences just sit.
Okay, let's think. All right. If I would go back to any age, well, it'd probably be in my, let's think.
I'm going to give you a second to think, but I have a quick question. Do you know John Amico by any chance in Chicago?
Oh, a hairdresser? I mean, I don't know him, but I know the name.
Yeah, that's one of my clients, actually.
Oh, nice. That's awesome. He's been around forever.
Yeah.
Like before I even went to beauty school, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, sorry. I just like when you said you're in Chicago, I'm like, she's got to know John Amico. So
I would say I would probably go back to, well, my early 40s for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I am in my early 40s, just kidding. I probably go back to like probably 42, 41.
Okay.
Maybe earlier. But anyway, I would say I would tell that person, I would say, let go of the people pleaser.
Okay.
Own your power. And I would say it's time to end those toxic relationships that you've been in, because there's others that you're gonna attract. Once you cut that cord, you're gonna attract the most amazing people you could ever surround yourself with. Yeah, boundaries. So I would say it's time to put down the healthy boundaries so you take care of you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being on the show. I'm so happy that you came on. This is so cool.
My pleasure.
And we'll definitely have a talk offline because this is, so interesting what you do. And I think it can be so powerful for everyone. Hopefully you don't get too busy, because you're going to get all these people listening are going to want to call you.
Time is made up.
That's right.
We make up time, and we time expands when we do what we love, and I absolutely do what I love. I would do it for free, but I mean, I'm not going to, but
no.
That's how much I'm.
I think people, I believe people have to pay. I believe that people have to pay because they don't value things if they don't pay for them.
Exactly. Gotta have skin in the game.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of paying, I don't really sell anything to you guys, to the listeners, right? I say this at the end of every episode. So if you guys make it to the end of end of these episodes, you've heard me say this a bunch of times. Could you please go and share this as your payment, right? There's someone who needs to hear this episode. This is going to be life-changing for someone. I mean, I can't tell you how many books or podcast episodes completely changed my life for the better, especially when I had no money to go and pay for coaching or any other type of thing, but I listened to podcasts and I read books. So I would love for you to take this time to go share this out, and please write a review so we can get up on the rankings and I can get more awesome people like Brigette here. And Brigette, and thank you so much for listening. It means the world to me, especially if you made it this far in the episode. Thank you so much. And Brigette, thank you so much for being on the episode.
My pleasure.
Oh, I have to get you back on.
I will anytime. Yeah. You just let me know.
You got it. Until next time, guys. Peace.